Your host, Nick Lenz, is here. Now, welcome back to the retro review of Star Wars The Clone Wars, the late TV series that was canceled last year. In the last video I did for this, I talked briefly about Star Wars The Clone Wars, the movie, which helped set up the events of the series, and the pilot episode Ambush. In this one, we're going to do 3 episodes. The 3 episodes are commonly called it's known as the Malevolence Saga, but to me, I refer to them as the Malevolence Trilogy. Basically, to sum up exactly what it is, it's a string of episodes which the Republic is fighting this new battle cruiser known as the Malevolence, built by the Separatists. It's a brand spanking new ship, and according to the exposition that's given in the beginning of the first episode, which is called Rise of Malevolence, it's basically saying that dozens of Republic capital ships have been destroyed. That not only military ships are targeted by this big thing, but also ships that are on the trade routes. They're targeted by this ship because there's a big, huge ion cannon attached to its side. Though the Republic does not know this until the end of the episode. Well, the first part. Basically, this episode also has the very first appearance of General Grievous on the series. As far as I know, he did not appear in the movie, but this is the first time ever he's actually appeared in the series. He was sort of one of the main bad guys from the original series, but in this one, he is one of the main bad guys. He's seen frequently throughout the first few seasons of the show, but after the 4th season, he is never seen again. This is basically the start of his reoccurring appearances on the show. Basically, let's see. Yeah, they had a couple battles in this episode. Battle of Arbiter and Battle of Batwadi, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yes. Where is he? There he is. Also, this is the first time ever you get to see, on the series, you get to see Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and Master Poe, who is basically a mentor who basically brought Ahsoka Tano to the Jedi Order. And they've been friends for years. Now, if you've ever seen Master Poe, he actually has appeared in Episode 3. He doesn't really speak in the movies. Basically, what he is some strange alien creature. I'm not sure what species he is. But he wears this mask on his face, basically. And with that mask, because I think possibly the atmosphere is not agreeing with him, so he has to breathe that mask. And also, he can also survive in outer space for a brief period of time. Let's see. He did appear in the movie. According to the information I have on the Clone Wars Wiki, he did appear in the movie, but it was in a newsreel. So technically, that was not his first appearance in the universe of the series. Rise of Malevolence was. Basically, after the episode Necessary Bond, he stopped appearing. He appeared in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. 8, 9, 10, 11, 16 episodes. A Necessary Bond is, in fact, the final episode he does appear in the series. It's a pretty good amount of episodes he appears. It looks like, basically, he appears very heavily in Season 1, but then after that, he's just basically got shrunk down. Oh, and Count Dooku does appear in this episode. For the second episode in a row, Count Dooku does appear, but this time he does not appear via hologram like he did in the last episode. This one he appears in person, which makes it the first time ever he appears in person in the series. Like Grievous, he appeared frequently throughout the whole series. Now, if you've ever seen the final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars, he is featured frequently throughout almost all the episodes of the final season, except for a two-parter, which is basically Jar Jar Binks. Now, Jar Jar Binks does not appear in this episode. He does not appear much later, not until Bombard General. Yeah. Few clones. Oh yes, R2-D2 shows up in this episode. So those of you R2-D2 fans, R2-D2 does show up in the episode. C-3PO does not show up yet. He does not show up until the end of the trilogy. I haven't got that far yet. Basically, Grievous has attacked a ship that Master Poe is commanding. I have Dooku's appearances now. Sorry for delay. Basically, some stuff. Basically, I'm saying there's a lot of episodes of the series. Basically, actual appearances. Let's see. 1, 2, basically, he appears in 37 episodes of the series. And from what I can tell by his appearances list, the episode supply lines take place before the pilot. So this is probably his first chronological appearance in the series. But Liberty and Rylith, which I'll get to later, that takes place before this episode I'm talking about. Excuse me. Basically, Poe's ship is basically destroyed. His fleet is basically disabled by this ion weapon, and most of his troops are killed in this attack. Yeah, a lot of them are killed, and basically, what Grievous has done to make sure there's no witnesses to see what this thing looks like, he sends out basically, which in later episodes called breachers. Basically, these are called hunters. They take the things and they squeeze on the escape pods, and they kill everybody. Now, in this episode, first part, this is also the first appearance of Anakin and the Ahsoka Tano's ship, the Twilight, which becomes a reoccurring ship you've seen throughout the first couple seasons, and then disappears, is never seen again till season 5, dealing with Darth Maul. Excuse me. Pretty much, in these episodes, well, in this episode particularly, yeah, basically, this trilogy is probably a way to get started with the series, is to watch it with this one. Basically, I need to stop saying that. Let's see if I can bring it up here. The ship itself is huge. If you ever see it on screen, it's a big, huge ship. Yeah, it's a big, gigantic ship. Now, basically, you also get a chance to see Anakin's main flagship in this episode. That makes his first appearance in the series. Yeah, basically the synopsis on Wicca says, Jedi Master Poe Ken locates a new Separatist warship in the Ephrato system and commands his Republic to attack it. After contacting Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, unaware the power ship possesses, Poe Ken's fleet is quickly taken down with most of the crew dead or helpless inside of his escape pod. General Grievous is commanding the new Separatist ship flagship known as the Malevolence, gives an order to kill any remaining Republic forces, with Poe Ken and clones inside of separate clones inside of escape pod. They hope for rescue while Anakin and Ahsoka search for them. That's pretty much the synopsis of the episode. It's a lot of the episode is set in outer space. There's no planets. There's no episode in this episode in particular. There's no appearance by. Let's see, does Palpatine... Yeah, Palpatine, he does appear in the episode, but I think he only appears probably in his office, which is a popular setting throughout most of the series. That's where pretty much he is. He's in his office a lot of the time. This episode is also the first appearance of Palpatine on the series. But basically, the Twilight does find them after searching for a while. Even though that Anakin was disobeying orders, he did not redirect his fleet to go search for the survivors. He took his small ship to the Twilight. He took R2 with him, and they eventually found Poe. They found Master Poe after he had destroyed one of the hunters. Basically, he sliced up the little grappling thing to try to squeeze out the escape pod. And of course, he uses the Force to move a couple of his clone troopers and kills all the droids. Straightforward. But Rise of Malevolence basically does set up, even though it's part 1 of the 3-part trilogy, it sets up a lot of the stuff that's going to happen in the next 2 episodes. Okay? And of course they try to avoid by using power, and of course they get away, and that's that. But Count Dooku is satisfied at the successful test. Yes, they were testing by destroying a dozen Republic capital ships. So, that's that. Now, on to part 2. Shadow of Malevolence. Now, pretty much it's revealed at the start of the episode that the Senate has commissioned a fleet, has commissioned an attack plan to destroy the Malevolence. The attack plan is basically this. Just take out the bridge and hopefully take out General Grievous along with it. Master Poe comes along and he's Starfighter. Now, basically, Grievous, there's also a point of view, basically, Grievous. Now, Count Dooku does not technically appear in the episode, but he does appear via hologram. Now, pretty much what they do, they basically want to destroy hopeless targets. And they go after a space station, which is a medical space station filled with wounded clones, and they go out because they want to disable it and hopefully destroy it. And basically, that's what their plan is. Go and destroy it. And now Anakin, in order to quickly get there quickly, he goes to a nebula, while the Malevolence goes around a very large nebula. They go through it. Now, it's referred to as the Bushu Pass, but Poe is familiar with it. Basically, tell you to hurry up and get through the nebula as quickly as possible because there's a whole bunch of giant eating moths. And these things are huge. And it's not unexpected you see space creatures in Star Wars. Star Trek, you didn't see that very much. In Star Wars, you see frequently creatures in outer space. They get to the thing, not much a problem, despite the fact one of them actually does get some partial damage to the ship. But pretty much they didn't lose anybody when they went through that nebula. They do come to Malevolence. Now, they launch an all-out assault. Now, this is also, I should also say this, this is also the first time ever, this is the first chronological appearance of the Y-bombers. Those of you who are fans of the original trilogy remember the Y-bombers as the same assault ships that were used to attack the Death Star in Star Wars New Hope. Pretty much the small fleet is made up of about a dozen Y-bombers, Poe-Ken's Jedi Starfighter, and Anakin's also. Now, pretty much, they attack, and of course they take out some droid ships as well, and they do use the ion cannon. Now, I should make a note of this. The first time you actually see how it works on the inside, it's a nod to Star Wars New Hope, of how it's basically the same exact scene they use when they first fire the Death Star. You know, with the whole beam, and you see like Imperial officers, and except you see droids. Pretty much what they did with this episode, they took that scene from A New Hope, and they put in this episode, but they put all CGI in it, and replaced the Imperial officers with droids. So those of you who are original trilogy Star Wars fans, you would enjoy this 3-parter really well. Because the ion cannon, in a way, is sort of a nod to the super laser that's used on the Death Star. And of course, Ahsoka Tano does convince Anakin to redirect the attack not at the bridge, but at the ion cannon, because the thing is about to be fired at the space station. Yeah, they actually get to the space station, and they get there, and they take it out in less than about a couple minutes, give or take, and damage this thing. I'm surprised about this. It has caused, basically, this weapon overloading caused tremendous amount of damage on the Malevolence. And pretty much the episode ends pretty much when the person in charge of the medical facility, basically, who did not want to be evacuated, they are evacuated 50% of the people who were already there about the time the Malevolence arrived. Now, at the end of the episode, she basically wanted to thank Anakin in person for saving the patients. And after he leaves, she makes a comment about Anakin to Ahsoka, which she doesn't mind the comment. It's a very kind comment. But basically, then it's all it's left to do is simply have the regular assault fleet, which is already there, try to defend from Malevolence. Now their job to do is simply just destroy the dang thing. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. Now comes the episode which got me started on the series, Destroy the Malevolence. I did not watch the first two parts when they first came on. I came on watching Destroy Malevolence. Pretty much, Malevolence is basically falling apart at the beginning of the episode. I mean, there's fire everywhere. The bridge is the only thing pretty much intact. After that big, huge assault, the bridge and these little supply trains, the only thing really in fact. And this episode is also the first time ever Padme and C-3PO are seen in the series. There's a reason for this, because Chancellor Palpatine has dispatched Padme to meet with a separatist leader to negotiate to have the banking clan secede from the separatists and possibly join the Republic. In a way, that's basically what she does majority throughout the series, be a diplomat. Though she can hold her own against droids, because she's got a small little pistol. Yeah, this thing is freaking tiny. And she uses this thing in almost all of her appearances that she's in, except for when she appeared in episode 2, she uses a droid blaster instead. And they try to avoid being catched by droids. They actually, they're attracting on the ship by accident. Of course, the whole assault was going on, and all of a sudden, basically, and they take their sensors. There's a small Naboo ship just came out of hyperspace, and it's a small Naboo ship. And I try to contact them, and it turns out they're surprised it's Padme. And of course, Anakin, the reason why he's going because he's married to her. No one knows that. And of course, they take the Twilight, and they go there, and they go rescue her. Says, someone's got to save her skin. And of course, Obi-Wan goes with him. It's so funny. Because this is one thing you gotta enjoy about the Anakin Skywalker Obi-Wan relationship. It's basically a comedy duo. They do argue, but they're good friends. And of course, Anakin tells R2 to stay with the ship. And this is the episode where you finally get a chance to see C-3PO. And here's the interesting thing. It's Anthony McDaniel's voice. It's not some other character, some other actor replacing him. It really is the guy from the movies. So, thumbs up for C-3PO fans. So there's probably not many, not as big as R2 fans. Yeah, and then, great. Now, pretty much, it's just chasing around the ship. Of course, Anakin does meet with Padme. He gets separated from Obi-Wan. He's just trying to go through and try to get out of there as quickly as possible. And, and here's the funny thing. Anakin and Padme go to the bridge, and Grievous is not there. And they take out all the droids on the bridge in less than probably about 30 seconds. It's so funny. And while Anakin's trying to whoop up a surprise for Grievous, Padme's like, I have to be on droid cleanup. It's so funny that she just drags the droids in the freaking elevator they just came up with. It's so funny. And she's not very happy the fact that she had to do that, but she did. And then the droids come, and then just by coincidence, as soon as they leave the bridge, more droids show up. And they claim that the hyperdrive's been repaired, when really it's not. And of course, Anakin gets out of there, Padme, and they get C-3PO does meet up with R2-D2, and they all get off the ship in less than a few minutes. And of course, I think it's C-3PO was the only one that actually. I think it was wasn't C-3PO, it was Obi-Wan Kenobi was the last one to get off. And they get off and take the Twilight off, and of course, Anakin decided to do something very unusual. He locked Nev's computer on the moon, which the ship was in orbit of. And the ship crashed. Of course, Grievous was off the ship at the time. So, it was quite unusual for that to happen in the series, but, okay. That's a quick way to get rid of the ship. Yeah, I think it was falling apart anyways. And at least, the Republic had no interest in capturing the ship at all. No, the only interest was to destroy the ship. Despite what Grievous was saying. And of course, Count Dooku does show up in the episode once again via hologram. Like a lot of time he does. And he shuts off the hologram. Kung Dooku's a little disappointed at that, but okay. Yeah, he also shows up in person as well, briefly, in a small cameo. But otherwise, that's pretty much it for the episode. I believe, if I remember correctly, I almost forgot. Shadow Malevolence ended with a nod to Empire Strikes Back with Anakin looking at outer space, standing on the flight deck, and looks out to the stars, and of course Ahsoka is there too. That's a nod to Empire Strikes Back. This one does not have any nods particularly to it that much. It probably has some small nods to New Hope, but that's pretty much it. Overall, for the episodes, Rise of Malevolence, 10 out of 10. Shadow Malevolence, 9 out of 10. And Destroy Malevolence, 10 out of 10. Overall, the whole thing gets 10 out of 10. It's a really good trilogy if you want to get started with the series. You could start here, but I recommend start with Ambush if you want to go in airing order. But it's a good, exciting episode. It's filled with lots of clones, and but basically, it's a good 3-parter to watch. I'll also give Ambush basically is watchable. This one I'll give a stamp of recommended. But they're really good episodes. A lot better than Ambush because that's basically an average episode. These 3 are not average episodes. These are really good episodes. And of course the series gets better along the line. Though it has some hiccups throughout the rest of the series. But otherwise though, it's still a good thing. Alright? That's it. Stay tuned for the next one, which I believe next one is the doxology. So, see you next time. Bye.